Good morning, it's Katherine Norland. How are you today? Well, it's Sunday, so it's time for my usual Q&A. Excuse me. Yes, I should have some water. I always forget. I go live and then I'm like, where's my water? I'm gonna go get it now. I'll be right there. Okay, I'm back. Who did I miss? Sorry, I was getting my water. I forgot again. Okay. So, good morning. This is my usual Q&A on a Sunday morning. And I just want to preface it by saying sometimes I don't get to everybody's question. So do not think I'm ignoring you, because I'm not. It's just sometimes some questions take longer to answer than others, and I can't get to everybody's. Hey guys, it's Olivia's birthday. Let's everybody say happy birthday, Olivia. Okay, so good morning, Orly. Good morning, Ellie. Good morning, Lily. Good morning, Square Box Head. So for those of you who don't know how I do my Q&As, I normally start out, oofed, manic, says they're depressed. Let's get to that in a little bit, and maybe you can tell me more of what's going on. Good morning, Loretta. Good morning, MC Doggy. So what I usually do is I usually talk about a subject for 5 minutes. Sometimes it goes to 10. Good morning, Brittany. Good morning, Carrie. Hey, Gold Plays Roblox. Hey, Enderman Nicole. Hey, Hannah. Hi, Ryan. So I usually talk about a topic for about 5 minutes, maybe 10. Hi, Harley. Hi, Iris. Hi, Tess. TessX Vibes. Hey, CJ Eats. Hi, Spotty TY. And then we've got Hanchu, Editing Lakes, Allison. Good morning, everyone. Babacom Bricks. So I normally talk about a subject for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we get into the Q&A. So, yeah. So somebody asked if they can make an edit for me on Instagram. Sure. You guys can do whatever you want. Okay, Life as Sarah M. Hello. Lily wants to know if I saw the Olympics. Did I see the Olympic Speedo I bought? I can't remember if I've seen it or not. I got to get back to my messages on on IG. It's been a bit. You guys know I was on vacation last week, so I've fallen behind on some of my messages. So today I said the topic that we're going to start out talking about is what is worthwhile. So before I say what I'm going to say, do you guys have any idea for yourself? Hi, Vias. What is worthwhile, in your opinion? What is worthy of doing? What is worthy of pursuing? What gives your life worth? Do you guys have any idea? Like, what are you thinking on that topic? What is true worth? Where do we find it? Yeah, Babacarn Brick says love is worthwhile. We've got faith. We've got time spent doing things that enrich yourself and help others. Good one, Rishma. Elena says, hi, Lily. We've got friendship. The funny editor says, I'm worthless. You guys know that's not true, right? Not a single one of you is worthless. Now, you may think you are if you're judging by the wrong things. So what are you judging by? What do you feel makes you worthless? I get it. I used to feel the same way. And then I learned better. So, what do you think makes you worthless? Because I can guarantee you, not a single person on here is worthless. Okay, Allison said, helping people and defending someone. That's a big one. How many people have just stood by and let someone be hurt because they didn't want to interfere? Karen says, doing what you love. Yeah, that's worthwhile for sure. Hey, Lightning McQueen, 95. Okay, Nicole wants to become a famous violinist. Cool. So Nature Creature says sports is worthwhile. Iris says her brother's moving far away to college. I'm sorry. Seattle Green said, my life became worthy when I had my son back in 2003. That's so true. You have like a purpose. You have like your hardest job in the world is you're forming this little baby to become a human being who's gonna be a good person. Oh, Lena, thank you so much for the gift. You're awesome. So, and kids, they will copy everything you do. They're like, it's like a mirror. So you get all upset and worked up, they're gonna get all upset and worked up. I see this happen time and time again. So if I'm getting like annoyed with Timothy and I'm like, stop it, Timmy, don't do that. Elijah will be like, stop it, Timmy. So kids aren't just mirrors, they're like magnifiers. They're like magnifying glasses. So if you just raise your voice a tiny bit, like, stop it, Timmy, then you've got Elijah going, stop it, Timmy. And it's like even bigger, even more. So you're like, man, I gotta like watch myself around him because now, you guys know what? This is crazy. I don't know where he heard it. I think Timmy was watching something on YouTube. He's 13 now, so he thinks he can watch regular YouTube instead of like the kid YouTube. So he must have been watching a video. Some of those gamers, he likes to watch people who play games. Some of those gamers that are playing online swear. So we're on vacation like last week, and Elijah out of the blue goes, let's, and his tiny little cute little toddler 3-year-old voice says, let's get the F out of here. Except he said the word. And I was like, what did he say? Because you can't quite understand him yet. And I'm like, did he say? And he said it again. Let's get the F out of here. I was like, oh no, Rob, you didn't teach him that, did you? It's like, no, he must have heard it on YouTube. So yeah, my 3-year-old knows the F word now. It's so sad. And so every time he like says it, which has been multiple times now, I try to change it to like, you mean let's get out of here? Like, and I keep repeating, let's get out of here, hoping he'll repeat me instead of, oh, so yes, magnifying glass, right? They will amplify it and they will suck onto it and they will keep it. So, yeah. Brittany says, being a mom makes my life worthwhile. My life would be nothing without my daughter. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that like, sometimes you go into it, you're thinking, oh man, this is going to be like an albatross around my neck. This is going to cramp my style. And then you find out your kids bring out the best in you. And they bring out your worst because then you get to, it's revealed how selfish you really are when you have to stop what you're doing to go take care of them. You're like, wow, I really didn't, I thought I was a good person. I really thought I was not selfish. And now I realize, boy, I do not want to give up what I want to do. So Angela says, my relationship with God is worthwhile. Yeah, you guys, these are all really good answers. Elena says, I even swear, but not on the radio. Like, how do you censor that? It's interesting how we can like maybe swear when we're out with our friends at a club or whatever, and then somehow not swear around the kids. It's like, you know, I don't know. We have to be hyper conscious of that, right? So I will get to your now. You guys are starting to answer a bunch of questions, and I will get to them. But I wanted to talk for a couple minutes on the topic about what is worthwhile. I saw a lot of your answers, and I'm just going to read this. Like, it's 2 stanzas from this book, Poems with Power to Strengthen the Soul. Yeah. These are multiple authors. It's a compilation book. It's over 100 years old, and I've totally thrashed it. This is by Alice Carrie, and she says, I'm assuming it's a female, Alice Carrie. Sometimes back in the day, you never know. Some of the names could be male or female. So, true worth is in being, not in seeing. So, true worth is in being, not seeing. It's in doing each day that goes by. So, you're being the kind of person that has worth and brings value, and it's in doing. So it's in what you do. So sometimes we think, oh, I'm not worthy because I don't look this certain way. I don't have big muscles, or I'm not skinny, or I don't have a big bank account, or I don't drive a good car. So I'm not worthy, or I don't have this a hot boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. And we think, I must not be worthy because I don't get good grades, so I don't have worth. Well, it's in being. It's not in seeming. So those things seem like they're worthy. Oh, it seems like it would be a good thing to have a great body, a great boyfriend, a great girlfriend, whatever. But that's not it, because that's not you being. That's something you have, right? It's like you have good grades, or you have this or that. Yes, you do have to study to get the good grades, so that's the worth. The worth is in the doing. So you study to get good grades. That's worthwhile. You're putting your time and effort into something that's worthwhile, like studying to learn more. Also, helping people. It says it's in doing each day that goes by some little good, not in dreaming. So it's worthwhile each day to do something good. And it doesn't have to be big. It doesn't mean you go and buy 600 sandwiches and you go to the homeless community and you're giving each person a sandwich. You may not have money to buy 600 sandwiches. But it says to do some little good. Maybe you have enough to make 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and you keep them in your purse when you go out for the day. And you may run into someone who's hungry, and you have 2 sandwiches to give them. That's some little good. Sometimes we feel like because we can't do the big things that we're not worthwhile, or that doing the little things don't count, right? Did you guys ever hear that story about the boy? I think I've ended a YouTube video on it, one of my first advice videos on YouTube over 4 years ago, about the boy that was on the seashore, and he was picking up starfish and he was tossing them back in the ocean, picking up another starfish and tossing it back in the ocean. Pardon me, I need some water. So he was doing that, and some older gentleman came by, and he's like, "What are you doing, kid? This beach has thousands of starfish washed on the shore. They're gonna just die and dry out from the sun. You really think you can make a difference? There's hundreds of thousands of starfish washed up on shore." And the boy kept picking the starfish up and tossing him back in the ocean. And the man was trying to tell him, that's not, it's not worthwhile. And the boy picked up a starfish and he threw it back in the ocean, as the guy's telling him, it's not going to make a difference. And the boy picked up another starfish and threw it. And he said, it made a difference for that one. So you guys can't help hundreds of thousands of people. You may not be a multimillionaire, but you can make a difference for one. And that is worthwhile. So it goes on to say, it's doing some little good, not in dreaming of great things you'll do by and by. So some people like to think, man, when I'm a millionaire, I'm going to buy these single moms a house. I'm going to do this when I'm a millionaire. I'm going to do this. So this is talking about they're dreaming of great things to do by and by, like in the future. But that's not what the worth is coming from. The worth is coming from doing some little good. Each day, day by day, doing some little good for somebody. It's not in the dreaming of great things you'll do by and by. For whatever men say in their blindness. So, what is your blindness? Your big dreams, your grandiose things like, I'm going to make this huge difference. I'm going to do I'm going to just say like, I'm going to buy 6 people homes. I'm going to pay off their mortgages. That's great, and I hope you can do that someday. But if keeping your eyes on this big thing you want to do is taking your eyes off the little deeds you could do each day to help someone, that's where the blindness comes from. When you think you've got to have this certain status, be this certain level of celebrity, be this famous, have millions of followers, millions of dollars, then you're going to do these great big things. Then you're blinded to the people that are walking in front of you each day. You know, when you see someone at the gas station and they're counting their change to see how much gas they can get in their car to get to work, you could give them $5. You know, you could give them $5 towards their gas in their tank. That's the little good that's worthwhile to do each day, not dreaming of all the big things you'll do one day when you make it. Because you may never make it. That's the sad reality. You may never reach the biggest dreams you have. And interestingly enough, those who give out of their little, those who give out of their lack, those are the people who increase and who have more. So if you're giving when you don't really have much to give, that means more than the millionaire who gave $500 to someone. If you only have $5 and you give one of those dollars to help someone, that's 20% of your income. But if you're a multimillionaire and you give someone $500, that's a drop in the bucket. That might be like you're eating out money, right? So it's not in the amount you do, it's like what you have, right? I don't know if you guys have ever read the Bible, but there's a story about 2 people that go into the temple, and Jesus is in the temple. He's in the synagogue, and some rich person throws in a bunch of money into the offering. And then you've got, well, good morning, sweetheart. I love your smile. And then this poor widow comes in and she throws in 2 mites, which is supposed to be worth less than a penny. And Jesus tells the disciples, that widow gave more than that rich guy who put in that big offering because she gave out of her lack. So what can you guys give out of your lack, out of the little you have? You may think, oh, it's not a big deal. It doesn't make a big difference, but it does make a difference. Okay, so for whatever men say in their blindness, in spite of the fancies of youth, there is nothing. Now here's the key.
I don't want the candy.
You don't want candy? Well, I hope not. It's breakfast time. We can have some melon in a little while. Or I can get you a bar. A breakfast bar.
No.
Here's the key. This is what's worthwhile. There is nothing so kingly. You want to be like a king. You want to be revered. You want to have, a big place in life. There is nothing so kingly as kindness. You what?
Don't try this.
I have no idea what you're saying. There is nothing as kingly as kindness and nothing so royal as truth. Okay, so do you guys like to be around liars? No.
No.
No, even Eli says no, I don't like to be around liars. So we can be kingly and royal if we're kind and if we tell the truth. Okay, now I know I missed tons of your questions, so let me try to go back. I'll try to go back, but I don't know how far back I can go. You guys can also start posting again. Okay, Sean asks, do you have a favorite special guest on Dhar Mann when you've been working in the same video? How is the royalty family? You know what? My favorite, they were fine. They were good. I didn't have much time with them. They were just in one scene with me. My favorite special guest, Collab, has been Lizzie Howell. Did you guys see the plus size ballerina one? Ooh, you got funky breath this morning. You got funky breath. P-U.
Pew.
Okay, Hannah says hello, Eli. Lizzie was my favorite. I got to spend the most time with her because normally when we do a collab, the person just comes in for one scene, playing their real life, because I don't know, they're usually too busy, or they're either playing themselves younger, or maybe they're not really an actor. So I got to spend 3 days with Lizzie. Hey Rob, can you get Eli some breakfast? Okay. He's asking for candy, and I told him he could have a melon or a bar or something. Okay. So yeah, she was my favorite collab to work with. Just I got to spend 3 days with her. The other people I only meet for maybe we say hi and we have a little bit of chit chat. And here, go see Daddy. We have a little bit of chit chat, and then yeah. So I don't really get to know them. So I got to know Lizzie after 3 days. So she would be my favorite just because I spent the most amount of time with someone. You don't really know someone if you're just in one scene and you don't really talk to them. So yeah, so that's what I would say. Okay, Aiden Meekus definitely knows how to bring out the best in others. Yeah. Yeah, he definitely is a good role model. Okay, we got a bunch of people that were saying hi to Eli. Okay, so Frank says, a worker I work with says the music I listen to is sad and it makes him depressed, he said. I told him the world is a sad place and the music is real, unlike the fake pop nonsense he listens to. Okay, so what do I want to say about that? Music actually can make you sad, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen the study done by, I'm blanking on his name right now. Sorry, hold on. There was this Japanese photographer. I don't know if I've ever talked about him before. But he studied what music, sound, words can do to the human cells. And he did this through plants. I think might have done other studies too. So he took plants. There was like 3 groups of plants. In one group, he played good music. And then he took pictures. Oh, actually, you know what, he did it with plants, but I'm thinking of the one with water. He did it with water. So he played good, uplifting, nice music to these plants, to the water. And then he took pictures of what the water looked like after they played this kind of music. And I think he may have done one also where he was speaking kind, encouraging words to plants, unless I'm getting my people mixed up. But he took pictures then of what the water looked like, and the water particles, after hearing like a Beethoven or Bach or some like nice music, it formed shapes that looked like snowflakes, beautiful shapes that were just beautiful. I'm like stumbling over my words today, but hear me out. Then there was like a control group where they played just, I don't know, whatever moderate in-between music is, and the water, it didn't really change too much. But then he played like downer music or heavy metal music or like really grating, like kind of music that wasn't good. I'm gonna have to go back and read this study so I get my facts right. But the point is, thank you, Lily, I appreciate it. The water crystals formed into these hideous shapes that were like cancerous looking. They morphed into these like yucky shapes. And like I said, they did the same with plants to see them thrive. They were thriving when they played good music or they spoke kind words, uplifting words. You're amazing. You're growing so good. Thank you, Elena. You're doing an amazing job. Keep going. You got this, whatever they were speaking. And then there was the control group of plants, I think, that they just, I don't know, spoke just normal to. And then you got the bad group. And they were like, you're a terrible plant. You might as well just die. Why are you even here? You're not producing whatever they spoke. And it made a noticeable difference in the plants thriving and their growth. So I say all that because the words we speak to ourselves and to others and the music we listen to and play for others for real has a physical effect on us. And it's been proven, like that Japanese one that took pictures of you guys can Google this. Maybe you're Googling it right now. That photographer, you can see how the water changes shape because of what we speak to it. Now, you guys know when we are born, we're around 70% water. Right now, we're probably 50, 60% water. As we get older, it goes down. I think by the time we die, we're down to 50% water. So you guys know you're mostly made up of water. So when you're constantly putting in you negative words, bad things, whether it's stuff you're ruminating on that other people have said to you or stuff you've said about yourself, thank you, Angela, for your gift. It changes you. It can really, literally change your physical structure inside you and make you sick. Now, I had an aunt who was a hypochondriac. Do you guys know what that is? That means they say they're sick all the time, even though nothing was wrong with her. Well, time after time, she would always be complaining about how sick she was, even though the doctors could find nothing wrong with her. She was always sick. Oh, I don't feel good, whatever. Always sick. And she became sick because she was always talking about how sick she is. So, long story short, the things you put in your brain, the things you say, the things you ruminate on, the things you listen to make an impact on the body. And I understand your point of view, Frank, but if it were me, I would say, you're right. And I would not play music that makes my coworkers sad. I would try to find something that is more uplifting or maybe spoke a more positive message. And you don't have to like their fake K-pop, whatever I think that's what you said, upbeat, whatever music, because we have to in life basically counteract all the assaults that are coming against our mind, all the negativity from people, from the news, from everything. So sometimes like you can feel a physical change in the atmosphere. Like when in my house, sometimes I just ask Alexis to play some praise and worship music. And when you play uplifting music, Frank says, but his music makes me depressed. Well, we don't have to listen to his music. I'm saying there could be a happy medium. Thank you so much, Karen and Derek, for your gifts. You guys are so sweet to me. So having that, having something good, uplifting, something you can agree on, and maybe it's some kind of classical music that doesn't even have words. I don't know. Thank you, Elena. I appreciate you. That could be a happy medium. Do you guys know, have you heard of music? This is another old time classic music called Baroque. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Baroque. Is that how it's called, Rob?
I think so, yeah.
So they've done studies that show it actually affects your brain and somehow makes you smarter, makes you be able to study better. And they've taken groups of people and they've had them do their studies, and they've played like Baroque music to some group and different musics to other group. And the students who studied with the Baroque music actually got better grades. They were able to remember more. I don't remember all the details on that particular study, but it is, oh, they were able to concentrate better, Rob said. So I remember, you know, he likes to listen to music when he works, and I just like it silent. I get too distracted personally. So, but each person is different. So it makes a huge difference. Frank, go to work next week and play some Baroque music. I bet your productivity will be up. I bet you'll do better on your job. And then neither of you will have to fight over the music. I don't know. Try it for a day. See how you feel and see what your coworker says. That might be a fun experiment. Okay. Now I'm going to get to your back to your questions. Black Red Rose. Yes, I have been, I don't know if the word would be bullied for my eyes, but I have been left out, made fun of, not been cast in things, or had to hide them. And okay, we got RFK Rafsan is back from jogging. Oh, RFK, he wants to go by. Why have you choose Dhar Mann, Subir said. Well, I like working on that show. Jarrell says, which one of your Dhar Mann roles do you prefer, the good or the bad characters? You know, I think I've played some good roles on both sides. You know, without the bad roles, there would be no moral to the story. So both the good and the bad are important. In some ways, you could say the bad roles are even more important, because unless you've been through something, you can't learn from it. Unless you've overcome some challenge, you don't grow and get stronger. So a lot of times, you know, the bad characters are learning. And let's see. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted by one of the comments. So I think they're both important, and I don't like hate one and love the other, because sometimes some of the good characters can get kind of boring. But then sometimes the bad characters can get like, oh, this hurts my heart. I don't want to keep doing this. Okay. So Death 1181 says, it's not faking their sickness. It's their brains tricking itself into feeling as if it had been showing symptoms. Okay. Spotty TY says, you're very good at being Karens. Thank you. Lily says, I want to become an auntie one day. Via said, what was your experience like with Michael Vicaro in real life? He's actually kind of a fun guy. He's got a good sense of humor. I don't know him that well. I think we worked in 3 or 4 projects. You guys, there's not a whole lot of downtime on Dhar Mann sets for socializing. There's a lot of times it's go, 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 go. So I don't necessarily get to know people on a really deep level. The person I probably know the best is Ricky, and she's the one that got me the audition for Dhar Mann, and I have hung out with her outside of set, so I do know her a little better. Gold Plays Roblox says, can you do Dhar Mann videos with you? I'm not sure what you mean. Okay, let's see. Jaden says, when I'm feeling heat water coming out of my nose, that's when I get the feeling that the sickness is coming back. Okay, gotcha. Well, I hope you feel better. Babacorn says, hi, Katherine, I love your videos. Can I ask how you deal with any hate or negativity you get? That's if you get any. I do get some. And I usually, unless they're like offensive comments, I usually leave them on my page. I don't even delete them, because I figure, hey, they took the time to leave a comment, you know. I usually leave it unless it's like really offensive or might offend other people or inappropriate. So if you go through some of my videos, you'll see comments like, nobody likes you, or what's some other ones I've gotten? You're a terrible actor. Just people say stuff, and you know what I do? I do nothing. I don't respond. I don't put any effort towards it. You don't want to put your time and energy towards something negative, because you know what? Even if you try to defend yourself by saying, what do you mean nobody likes me? I've got 100 thumbs up on this video. The person who's leaving the hateful comments, you're just putting fuel on their fire. You're just making their fire bigger. And they'll come back and say something else mean. Yeah, well, you probably paid them to give you a thumbs up, or yeah, I don't know what they would say, but they're just gonna come back with more negativity. So there was an evangelist I used to follow, and she said, because she travels around the world and speaks places, and she's an author of many books. Her name is Cheryl Salem. She was actually Miss America in 1980. Anyway, I remember her saying once, she said, when I'm reading all the emails from, people from places we've ministered to, or books that I've written, she said, when I read the first line, if I see that it's negative, she says, I immediately delete it. I don't even read the rest of the email. So if she comes up on something that says, your speaking, it was terrible, or that wasn't a good subject, or you didn't quote the right verse, or you shouldn't be wearing your hair like that because you're a preacher, whatever it is, she just automatically deletes it. Because you guys know what happens when you decide to keep listening to these negative comments, and you read the whole thing through, and then you go, oh, I'm not going to think about that again. You'll be laying in bed one night, and you'll be thinking of all the awful things that person said to you. Then you'll be wondering, is that true? Is it really like that? Do I, and so now your energy has gone to all these negative things somebody has said about you that then not necessarily even true. It's just this person's opinion. So you don't want all that negativity to take up space in your mind. So my advice with dealing with haters and negativity is don't pay any attention to it. Don't focus on it. If you're walking to class and somebody yells at you, hey, loser, you don't go, oh, no, I'm not, or stop it, or whatever. You just keep walking, because you know what? You know you're not a loser. So if someone is addressing a loser, or someone is addressing somebody ugly, or if they're saying, hey ugly, hey stupid, hey what, you keep walking, because you know they're not talking to you, right? Because that's not you. That may be their opinion about you, but they don't know you, right? So it's as if it doesn't even register, because they obviously don't know who you are. They haven't given you a chance. They don't know anything about you or your potential, or they wouldn't be saying those things. And most likely they hate themselves. They go home at night and they look in the mirror and they say, you're ugly, you're stupid, you're fat, you're a loser, you're never gonna make it, and then you just happen to be, you're just walking by, it's like you're the mirror. They're just projecting what they think about themselves onto you. So I would ignore it as if it has nothing to do with you, because it doesn't. Because what other people say about you is none of your business, first of all. And second of all, it doesn't have anything to do with you. Okay. Okay, please can you say hi, Jemima? Did I butcher that? I tried. I'm also a bit worried about getting my math exams results next week, because if I don't pass, I will have to redo it. Any advice? Well, study as hard as you can, do your best, and if you have to retake it, you have to retake it. It doesn't mean anything about you. It doesn't mean that you're any less of a person. I think I had to take my driver's test twice. I didn't pass it the first time, but guess what? I still end up getting my driver's license, and I still drive a car. So just because you have to take it twice doesn't mean anything. So don't let it get you down. It'll just take a little extra time. KB123B says, do you like playing a Karen? Sometimes I don't. Jesse Oakley is quoting from the book, The Four Agreements. I have not read the book, but I have read the 4 agreements. I've seen them on memes. And the first agreement in this book, which is worldwide best-selling book, is called Don't Take It Personal. So anybody who says anything to you that's like not good, don't take it personal. You know, when I would go to auditions and they would say criticism of my acting, don't take it personal. It's just their opinion. Okay. Do you have any favorite sports? The only sport I was ever in besides wrestling was gymnastics. That was my favorite sport. And I used to be like the only sport I would watch when the Olympics came out. But you know what? This time I was able to watch some of the divers, and man, the things they do off those diving boards. Oh my gosh, it was so scary. Like flipping like 3 times in the air and not hitting the diving board. Whew, that's some amazing stuff there. I tend to like, sports-wise, I tend to like the sports that are like individual, not necessarily team sports. Like I don't think I would watch a football game or I don't know. I'm gonna try to get into basketball for other reasons, but soccer, all that I wouldn't watch. I like the ones where they have to do like the individual. Sometimes figure skating is cool because it's like dancing on ice and there's a little gymnastics involved. Okay, so Andrea is mad right now because she's asked a question 7 times and apparently I haven't seen it. So I don't know if you guys know, but I don't see all the questions. But don't take it personal. Agreement number 1. Don't take it personal. It doesn't mean anything about you because I haven't seen your question. I would say I probably haven't seen 80 to 90% of the questions you guys have put up. And that's the problem sometimes with getting a lot of people on at once. I take time to answer other people's questions and I'm not looking at the ones that pop up. And then sometimes you guys have noticed I'm trying to answer your question while I'm looking at the question scroll and I lose my place and I forget what I'm saying and then it's no good. So I do tend to like look away or not focus on what's being said as I'm answering another question, because when I pick a question to answer, I want to make sure I'm giving you a full and thoughtful response so that you guys have some nuggets that you can really use and take with you. Otherwise, if I'm just answering every single question that pops up, the answer is going to be yes, no, maybe, I don't know. And that's not very helpful. So when someone said, how do you deal with haters? Yeah, I could have just said, ignore them and moved on to the next question. But I think you guys need more sustenance than that. You guys didn't just come here for a French fry. You came for a whole meal, hopefully. So my advice is do not be offended if I don't get to your question. I'm doing the best I can. All right. Lily says, how about setting up private live streams? You know, I was supposed to do a private thing yesterday. What was it called? A private meet and greet. And where different people were going to come into Zoom. But I don't know what happened with the person who set it up because I tried to get on for like 12 minutes and it didn't work. Oh, yay, Orly feels better. Oh, that's good. Okay. When I got older, everyone says, do you want to be my friend? I said, okay. I want to be another person told me, do you want to be my friend? Me, whoa, I'm getting more and more friends. Cool. Not that you need a lot, but as long as it's a good mutual relationship, that's great. Okay, Gold plays Roblox. So it was fine working with the royalty family. Like I said, I didn't really get to know them. They were kind of in their own separate area, like trying to focus on memorizing their lines. And I didn't want to disturb them or, there was a little bit of chit chat, but I could see they were in their own mind space. Like, I don't know if they've ever memorized lines before, and I think they wanted to do a good job. So, you can tell when you're on set when someone's like trying to concentrate or they're in their own world, and you don't want to go up to them and be like, hey, I'm Katherine, how are you? What do? You got a YouTube channel? Cool. You don't want to like bug them. So I kind of left them alone because it looked like they were concentrating and trying to get it right. But they were nice enough. I have no complaints about them. Enderman Nicole says, do you watch YTP video on Dhar Mann? What is YTP? Maybe you can tell me what that is. What is the art at the back? Is it abstract? I think these are like buildings. I think this is like a busy city street. It goes with another painting. Let me show you the other painting. It's by the same artist. I'm moving the camera. Okay, so this is the other one. You can kind of see the city street better in this one. Like tall buildings and stuff. So this was a set, the same artist, Matt Harding from Mankato, Minnesota, painted these. My husband bought them from him. So I think that's that's how I interpreted it. It's like this, but a messier version with more paint splatters. I don't know. I don't know much about art, even though my brother is a painter. He's an artist. Okay. How do you cope with huge loss? I recently lost my bird and I'm so sad. Oh. Well, first of all, do allow yourself some time to grieve. Allow yourself to feel whatever you're going to feel. Like, don't try to like stuff it down, because if you try to stuff it down and you never deal with it, it's going to keep popping up whenever you don't want it to, when it's not a good time or when it's not convenient. So I would say first, allow yourself to feel sad. Allow yourself to feel whatever you're going to feel about what you've lost. And sometimes, you know, you guys, maybe you're not dealing with a physical death or a loss of a person or a pet, but some of you guys might be dealing with the loss of a dream, the loss of an idea. Maybe you had an idea for a book or a movie or a song and somebody else did it and they got it out before you. I've seen that happen a few times where it's like, man, I was writing a movie about that and somebody else wrote it first and got it out first. Or, you know, sometimes God gives us ideas and we don't jump on it and then somebody else does. Or you maybe applied to get into this college and they didn't accept you. That's also a loss. I remember feeling deep sadness and loss when Timothy got diagnosed with all his special needs. I felt this just deep loss of what he would never become, what he would never be. You know, you as a parent, you sometimes think, oh, my child, we're going to work together in business and he's going to run my company one day, or he's going to be this lawyer or this doctor or something. And then they get all these diagnoses and you're like, I don't even know if he'll have a job one day. Thank you, Elena. I appreciate you. So whatever the loss is, it's valid. If you're feeling some kind of way, don't let somebody tell you, oh, he's fine, he's still alive, he's still good, whatever. You have to feel whatever you're going to feel. You can't control your emotions sometimes. Sometimes, you mean you don't have to let them control you, but what I'm saying is you can feel them for a period of time. Don't let somebody say, it's just a bird, get over it. You know, whatever it is, you feel whatever you need to feel. But there comes a time when you have to stop and get back to life and start looking at the positive side. And you can have the good memories. Many of you guys know my acting coach died in April, and we were very close. And I, you know, for the first 2 to 3 months, I just would, at different times, I would just start crying because I would, you know, remember things. I would remember the things we were doing together, the things we were going to do together, the plans that we had. And sometimes you can't stop it from coming up. But when you feel like, if it's been a week or it's been a month and you've allowed yourself to go through the process of grieving, sometimes you just have to go, okay, I've had my peace. Maybe you do some kind of memorial. Maybe you write something or you say something about the bird. Maybe you buried it somewhere and you go talk to it. You remember the good things, and then there has to be a time where you move on, where it doesn't mean you stop caring. It just means you have other parts to your life. God would never want you to be stuck in a place of sorrow your whole life so that you never accomplish the dreams that you're supposed to accomplish. And any of you guys who've lost parents or siblings or friends, you have to realize that person that passed away, they would never want you to be stuck in a place of sorrow or sadness for them. They would want you to have a good life. They would want you to move on and to experience life to the fullest. And it's great that you honor them and you want to remember them. But sometimes living out your dreams is the best way you can honor them, even though they're not there anymore. When you move on and you do, when you keep going, that brings honor to their memory. It brings more honor to their memory than you being stuck in the sorrow and being stuck in the sadness. So mourn the bird, mourn the loss, mourn the college, mourn whatever you need to mourn. But then after like a month, you have to stop and you have to move on, right? So you got to keep going. You got to put the past behind you. And yeah, sometimes you have to distract yourself. I was on vacation last week in Arizona, and it was the first time I didn't think of Tim every single day, my acting coach, because I have so many things around the house that remind me of him in my office. The pictures of him, projects we were going to work on. There's stuff I'm working on that he was helping me with that I still have to work on. And I think, man, how am I going to do this without him? But I have to do it without him, because if I don't, I'm not honoring his memory. So, I didn't plan to go there, but you guys know I try to be open and vulnerable with you and share from my real life experience. So there comes a time where you gotta mourn, and there comes a time where you gotta put it away, right? That Beatles song, there's a time for mourning and there's a time for dancing. Actually, it was a scripture in the Old Testament before it was a Beatles song. For everything there is a season, turn, turn, turn. I don't know if you guys have heard that song. Okay. Life as Sarah M is sending a huge hug to everyone that needs it. It's okay, Pat. Okay. What was your very first role you appeared in when you started acting, Jarrell asks. It was in Minneapolis. And, well, technically, if you want to go way back, I was in a play in grade school. But if you want to start where I was professionally pursuing acting, it would be in Minneapolis. And I don't remember the exact role. I was in a few things there, but one I remember was a short film for a film school, and it was called Gwen Mary Gwen Moss. Now, for those of you who know, there's an old famous movie that it was based on called Glengarry Glen Ross. And so it was a female version of Glengarry Glen Ross, and it was Gwen Mary Gwen Moss. I don't know. I don't think I even have footage of it. I did a lot of stuff early on that I never got copies of. Back when you start an acting career, they promise you copy credit and meals. So you go work all day or all week for free because you're hoping to get a copy of your footage and that they'll feed you on set and that they'll give you credit that you were in the film. So a lot of times you start out an acting career and thank you, Angela. You work for copy, credit, and meals, but you honestly usually never get a copy. Now in the internet age, it's easier to get a copy because it's usually just someone sends you a link. But back when I started, they would have to send you a DVD, and sometimes they wouldn't bother. So I'm gonna go with Gwen Mary Gwen Moss. I don't know. Okay, Cake Pop says, Catherine, can you say hello, Dakota? I really love when you go live, so we all have someone to talk to. Also, if someone says something mean to you or calls you a mean name, just say thank you. That's a good one. I've done that before. You're a terrible actor. Thank you. Because I got the acting job. Did you see? I actually got hired. So if I'm out there stinking it up and being a terrible actor, at least I got the job. There's a lot of maybe great actors out there that didn't get the part, but I did. So I got a chance to show how terrible I am. So thank you. Right? You just have to be funny about it. I mean, what's the point of being sad about it? Okay. Do you like pizza or burgers? I back in the day, I probably would have said pizza, but now I'm gonna go with burgers. You guys ever had Beyond Burger? So that's a vegan burger. They now carry it at Carl's Jr. So it's, you guys know I don't eat meat or dairy. So, and I'm allergic to gluten. So pizza's a big mess for me since I don't eat cheese and I can't eat gluten because it messes with my stomach. So I'm gonna go with burgers, and I would get it on a gluten-free bun, or I would get it in a lettuce wrap. Okay, so Lily says, I have exciting news. My sister got engaged today. There was a proposal. Wow, that's so exciting. Vios, yes, I have heard of the band. It's a band, I think, Ace of Base, believe it or not. And I don't know what they sang though, so maybe you can tell me. Maybe you can tell me. Do you guys cry for real in the Dhar Mann videos? Do you guys cry for real in the Dhar Mann videos? Or are you fake crying? Well, I'm doing real crying, but I have seen a couple of the actors use, put like drops of water. If they weren't able to bring out the real tears, they would, I had this one, she had like a younger actress I worked with. She had like these drops, and before we'd shoot, she just put the drops there so that when we started shooting, she could put her head down and the tears would come. It's not always as easy as you think it is to bring up the real tears. So I've also seen some people use what's called a tear stick. That's something you can, I don't know where you buy them, at an acting store. Maybe they just order them from the internet. So what's in a tear stick? I don't know what's in it, but it's some kind of like something that burns your eyes so it makes you cry. I don't think it's like onions in there, but maybe some kind of menthol, or I don't know. I tried it once when I was on a set. I rubbed it underneath my eyes. You're supposed to put it underneath your eyes, but it didn't do anything for me. So I had to bring out the tears for real. So yeah, if you guys Google tear sticks and look up, you can see what a tear stick is. It's supposed to like irritate your eyes so that you start crying, kind of like cutting an onion. Okay, Catherine, could you yell at me and tell me to go to the gym this morning? No. You're going to go because you're committed to it. You're going to go because you're committed to your health, because your most important job in life, you said yourself, is your daughter. So if you are not healthy, you won't live long to take care of her and watch her grow up to be the amazing woman that she is. Thank you, Derek. Arizona was beautiful. Especially where we went in Sedona. They have these like rocks that are red, and it's a lot of that is like Native American, a lot of Native American stuff. And the Native Americans had this idea that the reason the rocks were red was because there were, I think, the god of thunder and the god of lightning were fighting against each other, and the red rocks were their spilled blood that was dry. You know, the Native Americans have a lot of really interesting spiritual ideas and ways of looking at things. And one thing I like about the Native American spirituality is they care about the land and they want to take care of it. Whereas a lot of us throw trash out in nature. Well, maybe not a lot of us, but people do. They just mistreat it. They're like, oh, I'm just going to open up the door and throw all my bottles out and trash. So, and you know, like when they would hunt and they would kill, they would use the entire part of the animal. You know, I'm not into killing animals, obviously, because I'm a vegan, but they would use every piece of it, every bone, every, you know, they would use the whole thing. So they wanted to honor the animal. And, you know, those of us nowadays, do you know that there's actually cows that are just bred for their skin to make people leather jackets and belts? It's horrendous. They take these beautiful live cows and they rip the skin off of them just to make leather, and they don't even eat the meat. So that is a big difference between this consumerism, commercialism, people wanting to have stuff. I will not wear leather, guys. You see me carrying a purse, that's fake leather. Just telling you, I do not even like the smell of leather because it just reminds me of the death of animals. And I know it wasn't the way it was meant to be, because, you know, there was no killing in the Garden of Eden. And it's not the way it's going to be because there's no death in heaven. So I'm just living that way on earth now because I think that's the original intent. Okay, so let's see. Anisha. Okay, so Andrea's really Anisha, but she's using her mom's phone. Okay, I'm sorry you guys are having sound cutting out. I didn't realize. Okay, let me see if there's any, I'm over my time, but let me see if there's any last question. Mad says she's Russian. Oh, Mad, you're on here. You're allowed to be on here. Okay. Don't be sad. Your coach Tim is looking down on you and watching the great things you're doing with your acting. Thank you. Somebody wants to know, Santa wants to know my husband's name. It's Rob or Robert. Let's see. Okay, Brittany has said she's going to go kick butt in racquetball. Good on you. I'm glad you're keeping that commitment. Hi, Harley. Okay, so Vias says, is it normal for children to lie to their parents? I don't know if it's normal, but I know every kid has done it because we have that lie nature programmed into us since the fall of mankind, since the Garden of Eden, when Eve took that apple. Everybody blames Eve, but you guys know the truth of the matter is when God gave the commandment not to eat of that tree, Eve wasn't even around yet. You guys ever think of that? She had not even been come out of Adam's rib yet to be made. So everyone wants to put hate on her, but she wasn't even around when God gave that commandment. Now, you can argue that because she was in Adam, she should have known. However, when she offered it to Adam, he took it and ate it. And he knew he wasn't supposed to. So I'm just saying. So yeah, I think every kid lies because it's a fallen nature. I shared with you guys one time when I was on here. I think my mom was on here. I think as I shared with you when I lied to her about my bike. I won't get into that story again. Okay, Harley wants to know my middle name. It's Elizabeth. So sometimes when I first moved to LA, actually, I didn't go by Katherine Norland. I was going by Katie Liz. It was short for Katherine Elizabeth. So I guess that's, who's the oldest and youngest actors on Dhar Mann? Okay, Colin, that's going to be my last question. So the youngest actor, I think, that we've ever worked with on Dhar Mann was my son, Elijah. Did you see the episode, Woman Thinks God Doesn't Answer Her Prayers? I think Elijah was maybe 1 or 1.5. So I can say he was the youngest actor on Dhar Mann. As far as the oldest actor, there's a really great actor. He played my dad in the Thanksgiving special last year with Aiden. We went to his house and he didn't have enough money for turkey. So we had to have a Thanksgiving dinner without turkey, and Aiden was complaining about that. He was also in the video where Michael was playing my brother. I forget Michael's last name. It's not Vicaro. He was playing my brother, and I didn't have enough money for food, and the store owner gave me my groceries for free, and it was the same old man. Now he's in his 80s, I think. So yes, guys who didn't know, we shot 3 episodes of Dhar Mann with Elijah in. One did not get aired. They reshot it with different actors. So if you want to know more about that, check out my video on here called the 8 Dhar Mann videos I was supposed to be in. I'll talk about the one that was reshot without us, and I talk about Elijah being in that. And then so the second video Elisha was in was Lazy Husbands Addicted to Fortnite. So those are the 2 videos with my son Elijah. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm a few minutes over. I gotta go get ready for church. I hope you have a fantastic day. If I didn't get to your questions, I'm so sorry. I'll try to answer them next Sunday. Have a wonderful week.